Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Blackwell again, and welcome to day 2 of your summer jump start. We're going to continue reading in the book Our Solar System, the Moon. So if you want to go ahead and get that out of your box. And today we are going to start chapter 2. And chapter 2 is on page 10. And what's cool about this book is one of the text features is the table of contents at the beginning. All right, the moon in motion. The moon is moving all the time. The moon travels around the earth. What keeps the moon orbiting? Gravity. Earth's gravity pulls the moon toward earth. The moon travels once around earth every 27 1/3 days. During that time, the moon spins on its axis. This means that on Earth, we only see one side of the moon. And if you'll see this diagram here, it shows that, so the moon, it rotates. The Earth rotates as the moon goes around the Earth. So the Earth is moving while the moon is moving. All right, they made a difference. About 500 BC, the Greek philosopher Parmenides said that moonlight is reflected sunlight. Phases of the moon. The moon looks like it gets smaller and bigger in the sky. Sometimes it is round and big, other times it is very thin and shaped like a crescent. The moon is not really changing. It just appears that way to us on Earth. We know the moon does not make its own light. It only reflects the light from the sun. As the moon orbits Earth, different amounts of moon's sunlight side are visible on Earth. The different phases of the moon are called the phases. The different shapes of the moon are called the phases of the moon. And if you look right here, these are the different phases. It's a fact. No one had ever seen the dark side of the moon until 1958. That was when Luna 3, a U.S. spacecraft, sent back the first pictures of the far side of the moon. And that is actually what's in that picture right there. So if you look at that and think about our spacecraft today, it has really come a long way. On the next 2 pages, it's going to be the phases of the moon. It takes the moon about 1 month to circle Earth. Here is what we see. Now, if you'll see on the left side, it gives you a picture, but on the right side, it's the same. This is what the Earth looks like. This is what the moon looks like, just the moon. This is how the sun reflects off of it, or the light reflects. We cannot see any light on the moon, we call it the new moon. When the moon has moved, we can start to see a little bit of the lighted side of the moon. This is called a crescent moon. About a week after the new moon, we see light on about 1/4 of the moon. This is called a first quarter moon. In another week, we can see all the lighted half of the moon. This is the full moon. After the full moon, we start to see less of the moon each night. The moon is waning. In a week, it is a quarter moon again. And this is the third quarter. The moon appears to get thinner and thinner. Soon, it is a crescent moon again. A few days later, we cannot see the moon at all. It is once again a new moon. Y'all probably learned about the phases of the moon in 1st grade and again last year in 3rd grade, and are probably going to hear about it again in 4th grade. So, a lunar eclipse. Sometimes Earth moves between the sun and the moon. When this happens, the moon is in Earth's shadow. The moon does not appear complete. The moon does not disappear completely. Instead, it turns a red or copper color. This is called a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse can only happen when there is a full moon. And down here is a diagram of how it works. So when the Earth gets between the sun and the moon, they can't see anything, and so it covers it up like here. So this is actually what, if you went outside during a lunar eclipse, it would look like. And this information here goes up to 2013. It's a fact. The full moon in July is sometimes called the full thunder moon because there are so many thunderstorms during the month. Native Americans first used the name. So a long time ago, before we knew what was happening, the full moon was known by the Native Americans as the full thunder moon because we know that in June and July we have tons of storms. So once you have listened to this and read it with me, you're going to turn in your journal to page 21 and you're going to look for the activity called I Wonder. And on this one, you're going to write something that you've learned. It can be from chapters 1 or 2. You're going to write what you have learned. And I know some of you probably still have questions about the moon. So what you'll do is you will write that down here. Now remember, not everybody knows everything, so there's got to be something here that you would still like to know about the moon. So I'm like, see you tomorrow.